Is it using the right... I hope it's using the right microphone. Oh, I'm not sure if it's using the right thing. They've changed it. And now I'm not sure if my settings are right. Oh, dear, oh dear. And also, Logitune isn't working. Okay, I got one thing to work. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, I think it's using the right microphone. Yeah, they've changed the way live streaming works since I last did it. I guess it's been a while. So let me know how the sound is. Yeah, it wouldn't let me take a thumbnail picture using Logitune, which makes it less washed out. So, oh well. Yeah, but is the sound good or is it crap? Can you hear me clicking away? Can you hear that clicking? Yeah. So if I click it up here, it doesn't do it. Just making sure I have the right microphone because last time we used the camera's microphones, it distorted like crazy. And we don't need that. We don't need me turning into a horrible distorted robot. Maybe that's fine for music, but not for what we're doing here. All right, I've finished my tea. There's a slight echo. Oh dear. Well, I don't know what that... Did I just like make a horrible noise moving the thing? Dear, oh dear. Yeah. So, well, a soft bump. Okay, cool. I think we're using the right microphone then. Yeah, so like it's changed since I last did it. Previously, I think it just showed my microphone and my camera and didn't give me much options to say stuff. But now it's got like the title and description and like all the tags, and then you move on to the monetization page, and then you move on to... I can't even remember. There were two other pages before it let me get to this point. I'm too tired today to think about it because I was working. Gotta grab some sleep, but can I get a... Oh, my brother, he's a school teacher, and so he's been doing that, and apparently it's a thing the kids are into. And mum got into it, but I'm not going to. It sounds fine for a live stream. You sound how you're supposed to. Yeah, well, I'm sorry I didn't schedule this to give people some proper warning. Just I wasn't sure I'd be up for it, but here I am. I don't want to stick around too long because I do want to keep watching Heroes onto season 4 now, which is like some good exciting stuff going on. So, yeah, but I've been working today, so I'm pretty tired, and yeah, I want to make sure I get to bed early enough because we're finally getting some summer weather here in Sydney, and I need to get up early enough to water my plants because I think technically we still have like level 1 water restrictions. Maybe it's just a recommendation or whatever, but I feel like watering before 10 is probably a good idea just because, less evaporates or something like that, and then they're all good for water for the day. So yeah, I want to get to bed in time for that. So I don't know how long I will stream, but I'll give people are like, well, they've had 5 minutes to realize I'm streaming. Hey, do I wait for more people or do we just like get into stuff? All right. Well, so I'm now taking Lexapro, the liquid one. I don't know if that's around the right way or if you're seeing it mirrored. I'm seeing it mirrored. um, yeah, because my mood's been shit. And I'm tired of feeling flat, and I've been trying things and nothing's really worked. So I'm like, well, I guess I need medication. But I asked for um Lexapro liquid. It's the right way. Awesome. I asked for Lexapro liquid because you already know this. Why am I telling you? Well, I guess if I say it here, everyone else can catch up. But like, I've already posted this on Facebook anyway, privately. So anyone who's not on my friends list, I'm sorry. And then there's some people on my friends list who only see my public stuff anyway because I've set it up that way. Um, no, okay. So Lexapro liquid. Lexapro is escitalopram. I've previously had citalopram, and that was the medication that made me lose my appetite, which I didn't know for years. I was on that for quite a while. Um, and I think I've got a video somewhere like Are Meds Worth It, where I talked about like all the meds I tried and uh, notifications are a little bit distracting. I will try not to get distracted by that. Maybe I should just close Facebook for now so I don't get those little things. Okay. Okay, I will focus. So Telepram was on that for ages. Oh yes, I did a video like a few years back, Ahmed's Worth It, and I think I mentioned a bunch of the side effects. So like I haven't been on medication just because I react badly. And if you guys remember last year, the Claritine incident, my body just reacts strongly to certain chemicals, the ones that seem to mess with your head, I guess. Hello, Hopi. I swear I'm not talking to myself. Hello. What can I do for you? You want to come in the video? You want to come on camera? I realize I am well distracted, but hey. Puppy! And now he's off camera. He's building himself a nest on my bed. A very snug nest. Oh my god. Yeah, guest star. So yeah, I haven't been on meds for ages because last time I got really badly depressed, we tried a bunch and I just kept reacting badly to anything that worked. And if I didn't react badly, then it didn't work. Um, or yeah. So but I haven't tried escitalopram, and I figured I'd try that because it's related to citalopram. And as far as side effects go, losing my appetite was the mildest because I'm already a low appetite person, and that's why I didn't notice it for years. And I only really figured it out when we doubled my dose, and I ended up on like basically a liquid diet. I was having Sustagen hospital formula at one point, like that's how bad, smoothies and stuff, and I just wasn't able to eat. Which is bad because I'm already skinny and I need to I used to weigh below 50 kilograms, which for my height is just no good. I think I got as low as 47 at one point. So I'm trying not to go back there. Anyway, so escitalopram is related to citalopram. I figured I'll try that because it's related. Um, you know, if all that happens is I lose my appetite, that's not a terrible thing. And escitalopram, so it's sort of like the mirror image drug. So it's sort of like how your hands are sort of mirror image, like the chemical formula is just the same basic stuff, but in the opposite configuration. I think that's the simplest way to explain the difference. But escitalopram, in theory, is more effective, but with less side effects. So I'm like, okay, that's one point there. The other reason I asked for this is because it comes in a liquid form. And for my hay fever, I've worked out with Dimetapp, the kids one, which is the liquid Dimetapp, I was able to find a dose that I can tolerate that fixes the hay fever without making you too drowsy or whatever, which is half an adult dose, which is slightly less than a kid's dose, actually. So I figured if I have a liquid antidepressant, then I can adjust the dose a little bit better for myself and hopefully find a level that helps me, but that I can tolerate. We tried this with my psychiatrist, he tried me on, I forget which drug it was, but there's one that's kind of hard to come off. So they make these really tiny tablets for weaning off. And he actually started me on them with the weaning on drugs instead of giving me the full dose from the start. We tried that, but there was a point where, I don't remember how high I got to, but I started getting really bad stomach pain, so I couldn't keep taking it. But I do kind of wonder if, like, yeah, here's what the therapeutic level is, like, what they found in trials, but maybe I need less. Maybe I just need less and just to take it for longer to get the effect, but with less side effects. Maybe that's how I am, because that's what's worked with Dimetap. I'm taking way less than what has been calculated even for a child under 12, and it's still working for me. So maybe that's the same with antidepressants. I don't know. We'll see. The other thing is, like, I'm not really badly depressed. It's just that I've had anhedonia for ages, and I'm starting to fall off that cliff into depression. Like, it's been maybe a week, or I don't know exactly when, but I've just sort of been on a bit more of a downward spiral. No, I'm keeping it together fine. I don't think anyone would notice just out and about. And when I actually went to pick up this medication, they had to order it in for me because liquid antidepressants aren't very common. And when I went to pick it up and the pharmacist was explaining it to me, she mentioned anxiety rather than depression, because I guess I didn't go in like looking all grumpy. Um, but then I approached the counter with no issues. So did I look anxious? I don't know. But yeah, it can also treat anxiety, OCD, social anxiety, and yeah. But I think I've been prescribed for depression, of course. You have to get an uncommon drug. Yeah, well, I mean, Lexapro, escitalopram is pretty common. It's just the form that I've asked for it. And yeah, when I went to the doctor yesterday, she was very distracted and a bit rushed. Um, so we didn't really talk about it in any depth. But I just went in and I'm like, I want this drug. I want it in this form. Um, there is a different liquid one, which this one, the concentration is 20 milligrams per mil. There's another one that's 10 milligrams per mil, which she was initially going to prescribe me. Um, because I'm taking tiny, tiny doses. But I think that one wasn't on the PBS, and I think she didn't understand or didn't realize. Like, this is so uncommon. She's didn't realize how it works. I actually looked it up before I went in to ask for it, and she thought I would have to measure it with like a syringe or something. And I have to take because it's 20 milligrams per mil, right? And I'm taking like the normal dose for escitalopram that you start on is 10 milligrams. I'm taking 5 milligrams. So if you measure that out, it's 0.25 of a mil. And so she gave me this tiny little syringe, but it has a needle on the end because that's all she could find. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I looked it up on the internet and it comes in a dropper bottle. And what do you know? Drop a bottle. So yeah, I didn't need that syringe and just threw it in the bin because I'm just like, I don't know what to do with it. It seems a bit dangerous to keep that around. It did have a lid, so I'm not just chucking a random needle in the bin. It's all safely, put together, whatever. Yeah. So it's just like 5 drops into water, apple juice, or orange juice. And so I just had it in water to see what it was like. It does taste a little bit bad, but not too strongly. Um, yeah. And so I guess I'll just have it with like apple juice because that will hopefully mask the taste of it. So I had my first dose already. I had it at dinner. Um, Am I feeling anything yet? I mean, that's why I thought I'll live stream just in case I get any like side effects, because some of you have been following me for more than 10 years. You remember, I think my second video was the first time I ever took antidepressants, and I was sort of bouncing off the walls a little bit. A little bit. And then I think I did 2 more videos after that. By the third day I had completely crashed. But yeah, so at the moment, I mean, it's hard to know if I'm having side effects because today's bonsai day. I've been working all day. I'm always tired after bonsai. Just because it's like, well, after teaching, not so much, but after actually doing the work physically, for someone my size and, whatever my problems are, I always feel a bit off afterwards, and especially the day after. So it's gonna be a bit it's gonna take me a little bit of time to check exactly if the things I'm experiencing are a thing. And then also I'm aware of the placebo effect. So like, right after taking it, maybe after a little bit, I was like, I wonder if I'm starting to feel a little bit like the edge of that sort of agitation or something, but maybe not. Also, I got a little bit sleepy, but it's after bonsai, so of course I'm sleepy, can't really read into that. And then right now I'm feeling a bit queasy, just a little bit. But again, I can't tell if that's because of the meds or because it's one of those rough days for me. Um, so yeah, nothing major yet. I took it maybe around 7, so it's almost 9, about 2 hours ago. Probably be a few more hours. Well, if it's anything like Zoloft was the first one I ever took. Um, I have noticed with a lot of SSRIs that I do sort of bounce off the walls after restarting them. Um, so we'll see. But so far, I'm just feeling like, bit queasy, bit tired. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty normal, to be honest. I guess like once I have experienced a bit more of it and sort of get a better idea, maybe I can make a video about it, because liquid medication, liquid antidepressants are a bit unusual, and maybe people will be interested in that if they're struggling with similar things. Um, but it'll probably be mostly repeating the stuff that I've just said, plus however I end up reacting. So we'll see. Um, yeah, and I'm supposed to see my doctor in about 4 weeks to follow up, and we'll see if it's working. Um, yeah, so that's the main life update, I guess, um, is that I'm taking medication. But yeah, so the last time I did a proper like vloggy sort of video would have been the one where I quit therapy, because my psychologist was terrible. I would not recommend her to anyone. I told my doctor so, but she was so distracted that day, so I don't know how much of it really registered. And here's me talking in Fry like that lady who was on the ABC. It was really annoying. Anyway, um, oh, some entrepreneur, and she just like talks in full on Fry. And I don't mind a little bit of Fry, but if your entire voice is Fry, it sounds like you're unwell. And in the COVID era, maybe that's not such a good idea. Um, anyway, so yeah, no, I quit the psychologist and I told you guys I was doing the artist's way. I am now at week 5 and it is terrible. This is another thing that my private Facebook has heard about, is how terrible the artist's way is. If you were thinking of buying this book, I would not bother. I did not spend any money on this, thankfully. Whoever had it before me looks to have bought it for $7. I think that was either my ex or his mum who gave this to me. So they might have spent $7 at an op shop. Fuck knows whoever. Oh, someone spent probably the first person who bought this spent $24.95, and that would have been in 90s money. Has inflation had much effect? I don't know. But yeah, it's a waste. So at week 5, I'm just like, yeah, no, you do not want to take this course. You do not want to pay money for this book. If you can get it for free, maybe we'll have a laugh. But yeah, so like up to the end of chapter 1, week 1, maybe that would help some people, because it does sort of like give you that false hope kind of thing, which you could maybe turn into real hope if you interpret it the right way. But after that, it gets worse and worse and worse. And one of the things she says is like, oh, God, blah, blah. But you don't have to actually believe in a God. You can reinterpret it as whatever. But week 5, she just goes straight into it saying, God does this and that. And if your life sucks, it's because you're not doing enough God or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah. So she really just wanted you to start reading it, even if you don't believe in stuff, so she could indoctrinate you into her belief system, um, something like that. It is a trap. Yeah, and like even though I say week 1 might help some people. There's still all that God stuff. So yeah. Um, and then the chapters, so like week one, recovering a sense of safety. I think that's an accurate title because it does kind of make you feel like it's okay to be an artist. But then the next one, recovering a sense of identity. If I had recovered a sense of identity, I wouldn't be taking medication. I would be fine, right? Identity is a big problem for me, and it has not helped me with my sense of identity. And then recovering a sense of power. Have I recovered a sense of power? No. Um, if anything, I feel worse because like I have no power over my life, especially like having mental health issues. I'm very reliant on my family, which means that I have to work with what I've got. Like I can't go out there and buy the right place or whatever. I'm too screwed up for that. So like I'm very dependent, even at this stage in my life. And so I don't have a sense of power, and there's not much in the world that I can influence. I did vote in the local elections, um, but who gives a shit about council, especially because I have nothing that I can really do in this area. Like I don't need to, um, I don't know, apply for development applications or whatever. Like I don't interact with council, so do I really care? They're going to do stuff anyway. I live in a conservative area where people are obsessed with this village atmosphere kind of thing, and I'm like, it's not a village. We're across the water from the main CBD. Like, anyway, so voting is the main power I have in democracy, and no one I vote for got in. Although I did try and vote for the ones that I thought would be the most troublemaking, because why not? Why not screw with everyone? Yeah, but that wasn't successful. It was worth a shot. And it's just the same, like they're all kind of clones of each other in this suburb, and they're just slightly different versions of each other. So, and all the main candidates got into council anyway. It's just who got to be the mayor, which I'm told is how I should say it as an Australian. I was saying mayor for a while, and my family's like, "Why are you talking like an American?" And I'm like, "That's how it's spelled, though." I guess I don't talk very much. I read stuff, and so I've gotten the pronunciation just from reading. But no, I should say mayor. Um, and then recovering a sense of integrity, whatever the fuck that means. Um, and yeah, that was a really bad chapter. And then week 5, recovering a sense of possibility. Good luck. So at this point, I'm still reading it just for the laughs and the eye rolls and to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. If some of you remember, I was rather interested in religions, especially the weird ones and the cults and stuff, and Scientology and so on. So yeah, I'm sort of treating this like Scientology. And like she has ideas like if you just look for direction, or like if you try to achieve your creative goals, God will just give you stuff. And I'm like, no, that's not how the real world works. Also, she's saying stuff like, oh, a bunch of us screenwriters, we're talking to each other, and most of our, like, even though we have agents, we actually get a lot of good opportunities from like just randoms, like, oh, our dentist's brother or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but that's you because you're in Hollywood. She even said, oh, me and my Hollywood screenwriters, of course you're finding random opportunities because you're in Hollywood, and everyone in Hollywood is connected to someone in the industry, and half of them are Scientologists. Hey! Hello. Yeah, so you missed a little bit. I'm on medication. We're waiting to see if I have any crazy reaction. And I'm also complaining about this book because it is terrible. I would not recommend reading it, buying it, unless you just want to like laugh at it. But if you want to just laugh at it, make sure you get it for free like I did. Now I'm still doing my morning pages as long as I don't have to wake up early. The only reason I have to wake up early tends to be when I'm at bonsai. Otherwise, yeah. And so maybe the only thing that I've gained from this book, apart from some eye rolls and inspiration for Facebook rants, is because I'm handwriting 3 A4 pages a day, except for bonsai days. My hand is cramping up less, and I don't have to take as many breaks, and I'm not quite at the level I was of handwriting endurance that I was in high school for the HSC, but I feel like I am on track. So, if any of my, you have those occasional nightmares about being back at school, having to do exams. If I have one of those nightmares, well, at least I know my hand will be up to the task. Not that I knew what to write half the time, especially in like, wishy-washy subjects like English, where they tried to get us to do Shakespeare from a feminist postmodernist perspective. And I'm like, none of those things existed when it was Shakespeare, but okay. And writing about Clueless. Why is that on the syllabus? It was because it was based on Emma, written by Jane Austen, who is just excruciating. A movie being based loosely on a 200-year-old book doesn't make the movie good. Hello, Hidori-chan. Chan or Chan? Sorry, I'm just sort of sometimes I pronounce stuff Japanesey when I don't mean to. Anyway, hello. I don't recognize your name, so I don't know if you've changed it or if I'm just like bad memory. But yeah, no, it's 9 o'clock here. Clearly, you like. I hated it, but then I guess like I've never been very girly. I know I do fashion videos now, and that's kind of weird to me, but um, yeah. Where's my water bottle actually? Sorry, I'm just gonna row back here, guys. Anyway, so I've gotten sidetracked, hey, like I always do. So yes, after I quit the psychologist, I had to go at the artist's way. I'm still working my way through it. I guess it's like it kind of gives me an illusion of structure, and it's something to sort of laugh at every week. I do make some attempt at some of the exercises, but if I bring one of those up, hang on, where's my folder? There it is. Didn't ruin my stream. Okay, good. So, and Cam has seen some of this, if I can find the right file. Oh no, that was 5 more. So it was week 1, actually. Yeah, week 1's all the good stuff. So one of the exercises she had us do was imagine 5 imaginary lives. Maybe I should actually get this back out and read what it was. Because you get tasks every week, and they tend to like just be this meaningless crap. Some of it's stuff that you might do with a psychologist, which I would recommend doing as opposed to dealing with this chick and her very woo ideas. Some of it is just like arty things like making image boards or, mood boards or whatever, or like writing a letter to yourself or writing a letter to someone you don't like. So imaginary lives. If you had 5 other lives to lead, what would you do in each of them? I would be a pilot, a cowhand, a physicist, a psychic, a monk. You might be a scuba diver, a cop, a writer of children's books, a football player, a belly dancer, a painter, a performance artist, a history teacher, a healer, a coach, a scientist, a doctor, a Peace Corps worker, a psychologist, a fisherman, a minister, an auto mechanic, a carpenter, a sculptor, a lawyer, a painter, a computer hacker, a soap opera star, a country singer, a rock and roll drummer, whatever occurs to you, jot it down. Do not overthink this exercise, which is probably her mistake. Anyway, the point of these lives is to have fun in them. More fun than you might be having in this one. Look over your list and select one, then do it this week. For instance, if you put down country singer, can you pick a guitar? If you dream of being a cowhand, what about some horseback riding? Horseback riding. So you write down 5 imaginary lives that are different to your life right now. And just whatever comes to mind, you don't overthink it. And so like right now, what am I doing in my life? Okay, I'm a stay-at-home bum. I work in bonsai and I work in finance. And I don't do a whole lot other than that. Like, I've done a bit of music, but that's been very flat, so I don't really count that. So the 5 imaginary lives I came up with. 1, professional musician, because I'm not a professional musician. I'm an amateur musician. Like, I'm not really making money, haven't made money from it in a long time, and when I did, it wasn't very much. 2, professional visual artist. Same kind of thing. 3, robotics engineer, which I did get on the path to a while back. 2013, I was at Sydney Uni and I was in the mechatronic engineering and medical science degree. And after a few weeks of that, I was like, yeah, no. And I quit. And then I went back to AIM and studied some audio instead. But I mean, it was partly like I quit partly because it was so slow and so boring. And my problem with like all that stuff is um the idea of it is fun, but then all this like extra bullshit that you have to do. Like a lot of professions could be fun except for the extra bullshit. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't like it that much that I would do all the extra bullshit. Anyways, that was my number 3. Number 4, cult leader. Yeah, so I fell off the deep end pretty quickly there. Cult leader, something that we have all talked together for a while. Destructionism. To create, you must first destroy. That is the first principle of destructionism for those of you who are like sort of in my cult, but we haven't formalized it. And then 5, telekinetic psychopath. And that's how you know I've been watching Heroes, because Sylar is the best character. And that's one of the coolest thing about season 4 is they finally recognized that he's like the best character and the main character and the one they should have been focusing on all along. Yeah. I don't know what Heroes is like after season 4. I know they did some kind of like reboot. I'm told that I shouldn't go near it, so maybe I won't. But season 4 has some fun stuff. Not up to it yet. Sith Lord. May as well go all out. Yeah, well, I have said like, what was the last movie? The Rise of Skywalker. If I was the chick, I would have totally sliced up old Palpy and, okay, so I might end up possessed. Who gives a shit? Just do it. Yeah, you're cold. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then there's other exercises in the book that are kind of like this. And then there's some, one of them was like you got to list stuff that are kind of silly that you wouldn't do but you kind of want to, and me being kind of like anhedonic and depressed ish, not proper depressed yet, but like on that spiral, and I was like, well, eventually I'd like to kill myself. So these are terrible exercises for someone who is not completely bland and normal Hollywood type people. You have to be a particular person. I think you have to believe in God to get anything out of this book, because she will not drop the subject. She says, oh, you don't have to believe in God. Okay, fine. Why didn't you write it more inclusively, so that, people don't have to believe in whatever you believe in? Like, it's possible to write books that way. But no, she has to keep going on about her God. Yeah, and then for someone kind of alternative like me, like I can think of so many dark things, like fun dark and depressing dark. Like there's different kinds of dark, but I can think of a lot of dark things that don't fit her what she's going for. Might fit some of the purpose if you twist it enough, and tried to make it helpful, but you have to do a bit of twisting to get that to happen. So yeah, I just wouldn't recommend that book. Kind of amusing as something to do, especially like get up in the morning, write about a bunch of stuff, but no. And so yeah, the other thing I did after quitting psychology, so I quit that while I was doing Hello Scream. Hey, no gives a I'm talking about I'm on medication because I'm flat and sort of, on the path to depression, so trying to catch that. Yeah, that's the main thing that you've probably missed if you're just tuning in now. Um, Sorry, I'm burping a little bit. Yeah, so I was Hello Scream scare actor after, like, in the middle of scare acting is when I quit the psychologist because she was really bad. Um, and then after Hello Scream, so when you do something like that, you've got a lot of adrenaline and you're working with people and like, it sort of picks you up a bit. And then we had the rap party, which I went to and I stayed quite a long time. Did I enjoy it? Maybe. I don't remember, to be honest. Like, this is one of the things when you have different moods, you sort of remember things a bit differently. Um, Probably didn't like, I wanted to talk to more people than I got to, I gotta say. But that's just the nature of those things. And people got pretty drunk and I don't drink. So yeah, it gets a little bit hard once people are really drunk. I don't know how to deal with them. Anyway, so after Hallow Scream, like, you sort of have that post-show high. It did sort of drop off pretty badly, but then I picked myself up and I thought, okay, I've just done this thing. I want to keep up the energy, and I've also done all this exercise. I want to try and keep up like the gains that I've made. Because oh my god, after the first week, I could barely walk down the stairs. After the second week, though, I was like, yeah. Um, yeah, so I was trying to keep that momentum up, and I hit up one of my friends, and so, 2 weekends in a row, we went to metal shows. One was a metalcore show, and then the other one was more symphonic metal. Um, and, like, I was doing okay, but even just before the second one, I was starting to notice my mood was just not. And then with the symphonic metal show, I was just like, "I can't get into this," and I ended up leaving, um about halfway through the last band set. I think I just yeah, I wasn't feeling great that day. I didn't really want to go into it. Um, so I sort of, and then after that, I just had no energy, and I think that's probably where the spiral really started to kick off. Is like I tried really hard to go out there into the real world to be a real person, and go to things that I'm supposed to find fun, and kind of didn't get what I was looking for, and yeah, now I'm on medication because I don't know what else to do. I tried things and they didn't work. I tried the normal things. I tried getting out there, exercising, being social, and yeah, no. Um, mm. What else has been happening? I feel like there was something I missed in there. Oh, I saw the second Venom movie. Hello, I've got the first one there, and I will likely have to buy the second one because I am obsessive like that. I was a little bit worried when I saw the first trailers for it, but then they brought out some that I was just like, oh shit, I have to see it. The first half of the movie, very me, and then it turns into more of a standard, superhero movie. But for the first half of it, that's what we're gonna buy it for. Um, and so yeah. I don't want to say too much because I know some people might not have seen it. I think it's already been in cinemas in America and now it's on DVD in America, but I think in Australia it might still be in cinemas because we had lockdown, so a lot of releases got delayed. Um oh dear, oh dear. I don't know, like the whole Carnage thing. I guess I was never into the comics, so I don't really know why I'm supposed to be excited, really. But no, there was plenty of fun stuff, and I think most people will enjoy the movie, the Venom movie. Yeah. So I'm gonna buy the sec second one. Now this is a DVD, but now that I've got fancy computer with a Blu-ray player, I'm like, well, should I buy the DVD version or the Blu-ray version? Keeping in mind my eyesight is not amazing. So do I notice on this 4K screen? Not in a huge way, because like I'm watching DVDs all the time. I know Blu-ray will give me a little bit of extra quality, because DVDs are still standard definition, aren't they? Whereas Blu-ray is HD, and it's the other one that's 4K. My God, and I just don't notice most of the time. I don't know. I'll see how much they cost because I know they'll bring up both. And if the price difference isn't too different, maybe I'll get the Blu-ray. Maybe I'll splurge because I don't think I've ever bought a Blu-ray. I know the family have Blu-ray discs, but I've never bought a Blu-ray. But now I can with fancy computer. Yeah, so I enjoyed that day, but I think I sort of just ran out of energy, and then the gig, you know, like, I wanna get back into music, but I just can't really feel it properly, and I know some of you guys have been like, "Hey, where's that Taylor Swift cover?" and all this kinda stuff, and I just haven't had the energy for it, unfortunately, or the motivation. I'm really struggling for motivation. Like, yeah, I seem like I'm fine, but I'm kind of not. And then, yeah, um, sort of off camera, I've had some pretty bad moments. And so dad's pretty worried about me. Mum is wondering if she should be worried about me. Um, what else? So, I've also tried to do some things to like change my life a little bit. Um, and I didn't really want to talk too much about it because I thought, if it doesn't work out, I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. But now that they've properly not worked out, I can tell you because I can tell you things didn't happen. I have Blu-rays, but I don't have a player for them yet. Yeah, see, I didn't want to buy any until I knew I could play them, but now that I can, and I have been able to for 2 years, I just never got around to actually buying any. Anyway, so one of the things that I was thinking, like, I have no space in this room, and my original plan was I'll go to psychology, I will figure out my shit, and I will decide what I need to throw out. Um, but I haven't managed to get to that because psychologist was terrible, didn't help me sort out anything. Also, I think like when I'm not flat, I probably will want a bunch of my junk, so I shouldn't throw it all out. Um, so I actually like, I was talking to dad mm, more than a month ago about how I don't have enough space, and he's like, "Well, could look at finding a little studio." And so we actually like went and looked at some art studios to like rent out. Um, Now I put myself on the waiting list for one sort of nearby, but it's like I've never heard anything from them, and I have a feeling that they don't become available very often, and they're probably going to be ridiculously overpriced. So I'm just like that, like I'm on the waiting list, but it's probably not going to happen. And then I also went to like a sort of it's this huge space, and then they've like divided it up into artist studios, and I had a look at that. Um, but apparently their ad is really old, and they can't take it down, and they can't change the price to whatever the price is now. Um, and well, apparently tomorrow is when they reckon a space is going to be available, but they were supposed to tell me whether or not that would actually be available because someone's moving out. But one of the people who's already there was either going to expand their space or else the space would be open. And they were supposed to tell me whether or not that would be open, and I never heard from them again. So yeah, and I'm at that point where I don't feel like chasing up. Like, if I was as enthusiastic as I was when I saw the space, I would chase it up, but I'm struggling to give a shit, hence medication. Because not giving a shit is something that I really need to change to be able to do anything in my life. But yeah, so like I did put in the effort to look at artist studios. I looked up a lot of spaces, and it just yeah, haven't found anything. Would be nice to have some space, nice to have somewhere to set up my stuff where I don't have to constantly clean it up just to be able to get around my room or like out there. I can't leave my stuff around because, we've got family around. My youngest brother's disabled, can't trust him with a lot of stuff. We've got dogs, chaos. Yeah. The other possibility was like, do we build a, thing out in the backyard? But yeah, the size that I feel like would make that worth it is bigger than the size that dad would be happy with. Mum's on board. But oh, where are you going? All right, Hope's gone. I might just close the door a little bit because I'm talking and oof. I just completely whacked my glasses against the side of the door when I was trying to look out of it, and I just. Can I blame that on the meds? Shit, man. Yeah. No, I mean, like, we don't really use the backyard for much. Like, when we were kids, and like kids like to run around randomly on the grass, but as adults, we all kind of just look at it, occasionally mow it, mow the lawn. Uh, I feel like it's wasted space. I think mum feels like it's wasted space, but dad's like, no, I don't want it taking over the backyard. All right. So yeah, that's not really an option. And yeah, so I don't really have space to do any proper art, unless I'm constantly setting stuff up and packing it up and making a mess and cleaning it up. And that extra effort is like it just gets in the way of me doing stuff because I don't want to have to do all that. Just thinking about that puts me off making the art. There are other issues for me with art, which I've dealt with in the past and still worry about. Like when I do the more realistic painting, I just feel stressed the entire time because it doesn't look right yet. So I'm constantly just fixing mistakes until it looks good. And the result is great, but the process is terrible and agonizing. And then most people only look at it for 5 seconds. You know, music's better because you still go through the same amount of whatever, but then people will listen to it for 3 minutes. And you can also go perform it on stage for 3 minutes and do that 3 minutes over and over into the future if you want to. So I feel like you get more out of music for the same amount of effort. But I haven't been able to motivate myself for that either. Although, like, because I don't have space, I feel like music is the thing that I should be focusing on, or a bit of YouTube. Although YouTube's a bit difficult because people, and I feel insecure about, people while I'm trying to talk on camera. I can't be talking to people in real life at the same time. It's difficult. Yeah. So that's yeah. So I feel like music is logically the easiest thing. I mean, the main difficulty with music in the space that I have is that I do need the place to be a bit quiet when I'm going to record something. I have the microphone set up, but I just need the space a bit empty. But I haven't even sat down to write anything. And I did consider buying an upgrade to FL Studio so that I can do more on my PC instead of having to grab my Mac out all the time. Like I like Logic for recording the vocals, like the way that it comps stuff. That's really easy. But yeah, for making the music, FL Studio could be all right. And I've looked at some tutorials and I think I understand it better now. And I do have a copy of it. I paid for it and you get it for free for forever, like free upgrades and all that. So I should make more music, but I'm just so flat that and empty. And when I have free time, I'm just like, I just can't be bothered. The main thing that I can be bothered is to do plants, I guess, because they exploit my tendency to work to deadlines and plants just keep growing. But I also wonder if like I have no space inside the house, right? But no one uses the outside really. So I've sort of taken it over by default, I guess. Like I'm like, here's some space that is empty that I can use. And so I guess that's my studio in a sense. Because yeah, for a while, they didn't want me using the big table, but no one was using it for ages. We did Mikey's Woolies garden and it's just gone nuts. And so now that table is mine. No one can stop me. You have a spare room. Do you really want me to be within stabbing distance of you? Especially when I'm on medication, like anything could happen. Yeah, anyway. No, see the one of the difficulties about finding a studio to do art, is it has to be close enough. You want someone to talk to. That's why we're both online so much. Got too much going on in the brain, even though we like hate each other. No, so in terms of finding a studio, it needs to be within maximum half an hour by public transport. Otherwise, I'm not going to go. I know what I'm like. If it's too far, if it's too difficult to get to, I'm not going to go. And I don't want to spend too much on it either. Which we'll get to money in a bit. Although I'm already getting to that point where I'm like, I want to watch Heroes. I don't want to go to bed. We can keep going for a bit. So if I back up a little bit, studio music. Yeah, music. So software, like I have everything I need to be able to make music. I just don't have motivation. I just feel flat. Yeah. Are there any other things I've been trying that I haven't told you about? Well, I think those are the main things that I've tried to do. Nothing's worked. And I've just sort of spiraled a bit. And while I'm like at work, while I'm here on camera, I seem cheerful and fine while I talk to the pharmacist. But yeah, no, I'm actually not doing great, and I can feel that the empty and hedonic feeling is just not going to go away unless I guess take meds, because the world's not going to change, is it? I think some of my problems would be solved if the world was different, but nothing we can do about it. Some of it is like, like the state of the world, politics, social stuff, whatever. But some of it is also just that, like, I want unrealistic things. Like we said, telekinetic psychopath. Well, like none of that exists, right? So, this lady thinking, oh, if you want it and if you, do God or whatever, God will give it to you. I'm like, yeah, God is not going to make it so that I can lift things with my mind. I just don't think that's going to happen. And if it did happen, I'd probably go to hospital and get my head checked out because I would know I'm hallucinating. Um, yeah, anyway, so, like, there's stuff like that. I've had that problem for, like, since ages. I remember telling my first psychologist that, like, that nothing I wanna do is possible either because of laws or the laws of physics. Um, and I don't know what she made of that, but she was pretty terrible as well. She told me my problem was just that I needed more friends or something, and I'm like, "You know that unsocial people exist." I am not bothered by a lack of social interaction. I actually need some me time. But whatevs. Her real crime was kicking Prince out of our sessions. Prince was this big black poodle, and she kicked the poodle out of our sessions. Like, who does that? Why can't the dog stay? Anyway, yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff I've been doing to try and improve my mood. Nothing's worked, so I'm on medication. Um, I don't think I'm experiencing any side effects. Maybe I feel a bit of queasiness, so we'll see how that goes. The reason I started taking it tonight, I mean, I saw the doctor yesterday. The reason I started taking it tonight as opposed to yesterday is partly because they had to order it in because liquid escitalopram, not that common. But also I didn't want to take anything before bonsai because I have to drive to work and drive home. I also have to concentrate through the day. um, yeah, so I thought I'll take it after that. And then if I have bad side effects today, tomorrow, the next day, I can stop taking it and get it out of my system and be able to work next week. Um, Hello, Shadow DS Gaming. Yeah, how have I been? Well, this live stream is in large part about me taking Lexapro, escitalopram, liquid form. It's an antidepressant because I've not been doing great. I'm not proper depressed, but I'm flat and starting on that spiral. Like, I know what it feels like. I know the difference between when I have one bad day, like, I've had that on and off for ages. Like, I'll have one bad day, but I'll be fine the next day. But no, I'm actually on a proper spiral now, and I can feel the difference. So I'm taking medication because it's just no good. I also can't keep living like this where, it's just boring. My life's going nowhere. I know there are good things that have happened since I recovered from depression, like, the Punk Rave Australia stuff. That's pretty cool. Like, I'm getting clothes for free to make videos about them, which I'm yeah, I like there's crazy stuff like that that's happened to me that's fun, but um I'm just not like enjoying life. I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. So the other thing is I'm probably quitting my finance job next year. I've already talked to dad about it. Um yeah, because if I'm taking medication, they are awesome clothes. If I'm taking medication, I don't wanna be taking medication just to keep doing a boring, mind-numbing, unchallenging job. So, yeah, um, mm, um, imminently, I'm sort of phasing that out. The other thing is, like, it's sort of in these small chunks spread across the week. Like, maybe I spend 2 hours a day on it, but I tend to do that, like, in the afternoon when my brain finally starts working, and I'm like, "Well, it's kind of this random chunk in the middle of the day." I can push it to whatever time I want, but I just like, it does kind of get in the way of useful time. Um, and then my brain melts out my ears. I listen to Corona Cast while I'm working away mindlessly like a robot because it's really just putting numbers in the right spot. It's You could program a robot to do it if you wanted to. Yeah. I'm tired of being a robot, I guess, for a couple of hours a day. And then, once I finish Coronacast, even during Coronacast, my brain's still melting out my ears because it's not enough. So I'll sing, and the singing kind of helps a bit, especially like playing with the fry, which I also do while I'm driving. I'm still driving to what is it? Lincoln Park, Reanimation, Hybrid Theory, whatever. Um, the remix album, and I will sing the remixy bits. If you could be a fly in my car and listen to the noises that I make. I mean, some of you guys have seen what I'm like. Headphone singing. I don't know how many of those videos still exist. I deleted a bunch. Um, but yeah, if you've seen it, you know. Uh, Yeah, that's the main time I practice fry, I guess, because I can't really like I could false chord, but I don't want to be sitting there with my diaphragm going, ugh. Um, where was I going with that? Yeah, no, finance. Um, I can't keep doing it. Like, I need to do something that actually stimulates my brain. And I need to figure out my life. Like, I need some more direction. And so I'm also like I haven't done it yet, but I'm thinking to quit Centrelink, maybe for Christmas or I don't know. I feel like there's this problem I've been trying to get them to fix for ages, and I think it's supposed to be fixed, but it's still showing up in my dashboard as not fixed. And I just don't need that constant stress of me having to follow up to make sure that they've fixed their mistakes. I shouldn't have to do that. And with my mental health going south, I don't need any extra anxiety, any extra stress. So that's what I've been saving my money for is I knew that when this happened again, I wouldn't be able to stay on Centrelink. So it's sort of like I've been on Centrelink to save the money so that I can use it for when I can't be on Centrelink, when I should be on Centrelink because I can't work as much. It doesn't make sense, but I learned from the last time I was on Centrelink for mental health issues, I just learned that that's no good. Now they can give you crisis exemptions or something if you're, like, really screwed and you can't work and you can't do job search, and that's what they did for me at least once. I don't know, they gave me crisis exemptions, but the problem with that is that no one follows up to check that you're okay when it expires. They just let it expire and then boom, you've got job agencies harassing you again. And that makes things worse. I'm like, if I could, yes, I could get a crisis exemption for a few months, maybe, if I'm lucky. But then when it expires, they just like, maybe my mental health will have gone up a bit, but then they'll just hit me back down. So I'm like, I can't do that. So now is the time that I take the savings that I've made from being on Centrelink and I start using them in place of Centrelink, if that logic makes any sense, which it doesn't because, it's set up in such a punitive way. I'm sorry for any Americans or overseas people. Centrelink is like our social security thing, welfare. Um, yeah, you know, like it's designed to help people, it's supposed to help people, but it's designed to make things as difficult as possible, punish you as if you're not working of your own free will. Yeah, Centrelink, it's just it's and, then the politicians wonder why mental health is such an issue. I'm like, "Well, you're just constantly harassing people and giving them no other options." Um, one of the interesting things about the pandemic here in Australia is, when they shut everything down, they doubled the Centrelink payment, and they also brought in JobKeeper, which is a different thing, but they doubled the Centrelink payment, and, there are a lot of new people who are on Centrelink for the first time, but a lot of people who were already on it finally got a boost for a while, and they could actually pay for things, and some of them were able to get out of debt or at least pay some of their debt off. They were able to feed themselves properly. They were able to do all the things that they need to do. And um, in Australia, I think the suicide rate actually went down, even though it was a pandemic and people were losing their jobs everywhere. And it just goes to show, like, having that extra finance without someone harassing you, because they got rid of all those obligations for a while. So people were getting money without being harassed. And of course, mental health was much more stable, less people trying to kill themselves. Like, but now we've just gone back to what it was before, pretty much. It's like, come on, guys. Can you see we just ran an experiment and you saw the results? Now, of course, I understand budget issues, and we haven't really embraced modern monetary theory. And I know there's some debate and issues about that, but there are ways that you could do this that would just be better. Like, for example, we spend so much money on Centrelink and job agency staff, and they constantly fuck everything up. They're incredibly incompetent. Um, you're paying those people and they don't really help anyone. Like some of the job agencies, some of the stories I've heard about the way that they help people, they don't really. They just harass people and they get government money for doing a shit job and for like exploiting numbers. Like, they'll try and take credit for jobs they didn't actually find you, apparently. Um, there's all this kind of stuff. If you just didn't pay them, wouldn't you save some money that you could just give to people who actually need it? It sort of feels like the dole bludgers are actually the job agencies rather than the people who are like struggling on Centrelink money, trying to find jobs and trying to make their way. Um, don't know anyone who's been helped by a job agency. Yeah. Um, it's a really crap system, and the people being paid this money to do nothing, it's the job agencies. They're being paid money to just make it look like they're meeting whatever numbers the government wants from them, but they're not really achieving what they're supposed to. I think I've got an aunt who worked in like that sort of Centrelink stuff before the job agency. I think it's a privatization thing before that happened, and apparently it was better back then. But whatever it is now, it's no good. Um, and so yeah, it's just like it's a terrible system. It's terrible for people's mental health. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't find people jobs. Um, there's no logic. So I don't know, like, you don't have to have universal basic income, whatever, to make a difference. You could just change the way the system is, make it less punitive, make it less frustrating, and people would have less mental health problems. Like, it's not that hard to figure out. Of course, the people who work in job agencies would then be unemployed and then they'd have to find a new job. But then maybe they'd have to make themselves useful instead of just a hindrance. And that's what they should be paid for, to be useful, not to be in everyone's way. Um, and I don't feel any guilt about bagging out Centrelink and job agency employees because, yeah, okay, they'd be in a shit situation too, but they've chosen to be part of a system that is just terrible for people. If they think they're helping anyone, they're deluded. Oh, hello. Good night, Dad. Everyone say good night, Dad. um, yeah, I don't know. How do you get a job without any experience? Well, you start in like Macca's or something. Although I've met someone who didn't get through the Macca's recruitment process, and I'm kind of glad they're not touching anyone's food, but most of you would be able to get a job at somewhere retaily. Like, you don't need anything to get a retail job or a hospitality job in most cases. Then you study something and then you get experience that way. I don't know. Have 2 degrees. Job agency couldn't help me use the system. Yeah, I've got 2 degrees as well, although to be fair, they are degrees in being homeless. I had a music degree and an art degree. Well done, me. Although the art degree was more of a therapy thing because that was when I was depressed and I needed something to do that didn't completely destroy my soul, but got me out of the house and whatever. Um, yeah, no, I've like talked to the job agency like maybe once or twice, but it was more about trying to get out of their system, so I don't really have the full experience, but, yeah. I mean, one of the girls who talked to me, that this was ages back, she seemed well-meaning. And I think I made her cry. I think just because my story was so sad and it made her sad. But, you are working for this terrible system. I don't know. I don't know. It sucks, but it is what it is. Anyway, but yeah, if I quit my finance job, I'm on partial capacity, which means Centrelink leaves me alone if I work 30 hours a fortnight. Doesn't sound like a lot if you're a normal person, but if you have mental health issues, that is a bit tough. And I managed to get there for quite a while, especially through this pandemic. I built myself up doing the 30 hours a fortnight, and that's the exemption that they're supposed to give me, but they never managed to get it to actually into the system. So the job agency still tries to sign me up for interviews or appointments or whatever, and they tend to sign me up on days that I'm working, and I'm like, how many times do I have to tell you people? Centrelink said they fixed it. I'm not seeing evidence that it's fixed. The job agency thinks I'm coming in on Friday. Um, I have an exemption. I'm not going. But yeah, if I quit the finance job, it's going to be harder for me to get those 15 hours because then I'm only working at Bonsai and I usually only get 7.5 hours a week because I do one day. Um, so 15 a fortnight, which is half what I need to keep Centrelink away. Although sometimes I teach, I've started teach assisting again. So yeah, questions are distracting. No, if I get rid of a finance job, then I can't really work those 30 hours, and then I will have to see a job agency, and they will try and make me find other jobs, which is not what I need right now. I need to focus on my mental health, taking the medication, getting myself stable, so that I can be a functioning-ish kind of person, and at least get back some degree of not sitting around wasting away. So yeah, that's more incentive as well to probably quit Centrelink. You know, they keep screwing everything up. They're bad for my mental health, and I'm probably not going to do those 30 hours a fortnight for much longer. Um, Sad thing is I have to give up. They gave me a card that gives me cheaper transport. I'll have to give that up, but oh well. It's not like I go anywhere really. But yeah, so I'm sort of waiting to see what happens on Friday. I think they'll send me a reminder on Thursday. Usually I call and say I can't come tomorrow, I'm working. Um, but I'm just not going to. I tried to call them on Monday, yesterday. Yesterday was Monday? Yeah. I tried to call them yesterday, ran out of time to stay on hold, and I was just like, I can't, I, I can't. They're not supposed to have me still on their books. So I'll see what happens on Friday if they give me an angry phone call or if they try to cut me off. I'm not even going to be, Centrelink's not going to pay me anything this fortnight anyway because all my pay comes in from both my jobs. So I'd be earning too much this fortnight to get anything. So if they threaten me with cutting me off, oh, well, I wasn't going to get anything anyway. So we'll see what happens. But I think, yeah, maybe for Christmas, as a present to myself, I will tell Centrelink to get lost. I'll write them another nasty breakup letter about how terrible they are for mental health, how much I've, been trying to get this problem fixed about my part-time work exemption, and just like constant fuck ups. I've been working on it for a month, trying to get that sorted, and it's just like, yeah. So yeah, that I'll just be doing bonsai next year unless I get this gig teaching metal vocals. I don't know if I've told you guys about that because I don't remember the last time we spoke. But yeah, there's a chance I might be teaching metal vocals at a university, but we will see. Ever wanted to move to the States? Have I ever wanted to move to America? Maybe when I was in high school and I was into robotics because I thought, well, you either go to Japan and I can't speak Japanese. I can speak a tiny bit, but not very much. I could go to Japan or I can go to America where they also have robotics stuff going on and still do. Um, and I can speak the language, but I lost interest in that. And as I've gotten older, well, I visited America after the HSC. That was my schoolies because fuck real schoolies. So I went on a proper holiday. And America is I mean it was LA and Las Vegas. Um I don't know, and like their idea of a steak and also even the McDonald's didn't taste right. Um it was yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of America. And then around then was okay. But as time goes on, I feel like America is getting crazier and crazier. And then, of course, like there's issues like the gun situation in America, which we sorted out when I was a kid here in Australia. Um, I would probably be dead if we had easy access to guns because I would have done myself already. That's probably the only way that I would, yeah, uh, because I don't like the idea of trying to kill myself and ending up injured, and then having people hovering over me, and having a worse quality of life. I would want to get it over with, and so yeah, it's a good thing that I don't have easy access to guns. Although I have been to a shooting range, and it turns out I'm pretty good, better than my ex. Playing Call of Duty, he thinks that makes him good at. No, you need a steady hand and to pay attention to what the instructor is telling you, and yeah, so I'm good at shooting, or I was at the time. I think I'm still all right if I tried it again, but that was oh shit, that was maybe 10 years ago. I'm so old. Anyway, yeah, no, also America hasn't banned asbestos, which I find very strange. Very strange. Like, what are you people doing? Honestly. Um, so yeah, no, America is confusing and crazy, and I don't want to be there. And I know it's different in different parts of America, but I'm, I've not been made aware of any part of America that I would like to live in. Um, I'm fine in Australia, thanks. And yeah, the food over there wasn't great. When we were in LA, the best food we had was in Tokyo Town. We found a proper Japanese place that made proper Japanese food, and so we had that. All the American stuff to eat, no, hasn't banned what asbestos. It's like used for insulation, and it gives people horrible lung diseases as a building material. It's sort of it's used a lot because it's like fireproof or fire resistant, and insulating and whatever. But it's terrible. And when people do like home renovations, because there's still asbestos in Australian houses that were built a long time ago, so you have to be careful when you're doing like home renovations if you don't know what your house is made of, because you might accidentally hit some asbestos, breathe it in, and end up with lung disease. You it's really unhealthy stuff. But I think America has only banned new uses of it, but anything that it was previously approved for, as I understand, I mean, maybe it varies state to state. I don't know the specifics, but it's not been properly banned in America, and I'm just like, okay. Um, Australia has its own crazy stuff, but America cannot be beaten on craziness. Anyway, um, what else? So yeah, I think that's pretty much my life updated to this point. And I want to watch Heroes. So there's quite a few of you watching now. If anyone has some quick questions, we'll do questions. I'll stay until maybe 10, because then I really need to watch Heroes and get myself to bed. I haven't noticed any side effects yet. I do feel like a little bit queasy here and there, but I don't know if that's really unusual for after bonsai. Um, yeah, and then, as I talk, am I getting a dry mouth? Because that is a side effect I will not be able to tolerate. But I think it's just because I'm talking. My nose is going a bit funny. But also I get hay fever. I wonder if it interacts with Dimetap, because that's not going to be fun if it does. How many grapes are in a bunch? Ah! Of course you would come and hit me with that one. Oh dear, dear, dear. Oh dear, dear. If I ever set up YouTube memberships and you can make those like custom emojis, I will have to make like a bunch of grapes, and then we will be able to count how many grapes are in a bunch. Yeah, no, I haven't set that up though, because like YouTube, I don't know, it just seems like so much effort, and I have no motivation for anything that requires a lot of effort, unless it's working with my plants. Um, I don't know, like it's hard for me to figure myself out. And I haven't had any psychologists to figure me out. Um, yeah. So anhedonia. I don't know how it's gonna affect, like, the crazy part of me. Oh, wait, there's already a grapes one! Since when? Oh my god, so how many grapes are in that bunch? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? 11, but then if we wonder if it's 3D, well, there's 11 that we can count. Oh, because there's just regular emojis here, huh? Well, I guess I don't need to make one then. And so I don't need to set up memberships. If you guys do want to support me, I'm on Patreon. um, yeah, and mostly at the moment, I'm mostly posting like bonus Punk Rave Australia photos. Because that's all I've had the energy. Like I take them anyway. I might as well share them with you guys. Work avoided, yay! Which is great because I have no motivation. Um, but yeah, no, I want to do more on Patreon. I was doing more, like, showing bits of art and stuff, but it's like I'm flat on everything. Oh no, it's turned into a thing. Now grapes are going to be like a thing on this channel. Oh my goodness, what have we done? We need to find a place for grapes in the destructionism cult, along with that toenail ant. Haven't forgotten about him either. Um, dear, oh dear. Yeah, no, Patreon. Yeah, art and stuff. I think I need to be more creative. Um, After the psychosome, I think I did talk about grapes of wrath. Yeah, except that when you squeeze them, they just sort of explode, right? That's so much wrath in it. Um, so after the psychologist, I think I also talked about looking at what do you call it, life coaches and career counselors and whatever. Um, and what made me think creative is the way to go was actually like this terrible government quiz. Because yeah, the Australian government has a quiz to help you work out what career you should pursue. It makes you choose, like, it gives you these, like, choose one out of this 5 different occupations, and it's really kind of random and terrible, and it's hard to choose anything, and I ended up choosing like really weird shit. But then it comes up with this list of stuff, and I went through the whole list, and the ones that I didn't poo poo were like musician and artist. So I'm like, well, I guess that's just me. I've already got the tortured mental illness thing stereotype going on. Stains of despair. Oh, I feel like I am a stain of despair at this point. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, the government quiz made me think, yeah, out of this list, the only things I want to do are creative wankery stuff. Hello! um, yeah. Well, so that's what got me thinking about creative, which means I have to keep all my random junk. But I need a space to do stuff, so I guess it's music until I can find some kind of a space, which could take a long time. But I'm not motivated enough to do music. So yeah, I think I need to take the drugs. Um, which is, for those of you just tuning in, I'll show it again. It's the liquid form of escitalopram, Lexapro, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so I think to be able to do music, I just need to be on medication. Because I also think about when I was in bands, and I was on medication. I was on citalopram pretty much from, yeah, the first band that I started through to halfway through Rainbow Death Rate. I was on citalopram, on those meds that destroyed my appetite. I hope I don't lose my appetite because I don't want to lose weight. Like, it took me ages to get to this point and to keep it steady. So hopefully I can find a dose that doesn't give me bad side effects, but we'll see what happens. 'Cause I can't weigh 47 again. That was too low. I managed to stay, like, I hover around 52 kilos these days, which is just in that healthy range. Ah! Cheer up, koala! Thank you. Yeah, no, like, I'm not proper depressed, but I'm like, I've been heaps flat, and I just feel like I need to I need to do something, right? So yeah, that's why I'm taking the medication, and we'll see. Because like flatness is still better than depression, but I'm not getting anywhere with my life. And so yeah, I feel like that's what I need to do. But thank you. Cheer up, koala. Ah, I'm gonna have to get myself some koala ears. Although koalas are a really terrible animal. If you guys haven't like read the rant about koalas or seen, oh, what is that? What is that funny little if I just hang on, let me just push that to the side. Let me grab this. I will look it up for you. Koala koala worst animal. Um oh no, where is it? It's not coming up. Ah, this one, this one. I will share with this with you. I think I have to go into it.
So I've got my
There's a bloody ad comes up. Okay, later on, guys, you should watch that. Yeah, some of you already know Zed Frank. I am a koala. Yeah, but this is like the greatest documentary about koalas of all time. It's true facts about marsupials. So it's not just about koalas, but the part about koalas, amazing. And so, like, you know, here in Australia, we're all like, yeah, save the koalas. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's not like they do anything and they are kind of horrible. Do we really need to save them? Yeah, no, koalas are, let's just say they're interesting. They look, well, I don't really think they look cute. Like they have that weird nose, and I'm just like that's not cute. But people think they're cute and cuddly, and they're really not. I personally prefer the drop bear, which as Aussies we know is the real threat when you're out bushwalking. You got to watch out for those drop bears. Their brains are so smooth. Save the cane toads. No, there's too many of them. Yeah, we're working on more and more ways to kill the little fuckers, aren't we? Yeah. Of course you like koalas. Jeez. I won't share your secrets with people though. Yeah. No, so what else? I've got maybe 5 minutes before I leave, guys. Yeah, drop bears, they're amazing. Koalas can get stuffed, drop bears are where it's at. Anyway, yeah. So stuff and things. I've completely lost track of what I was thinking about. But okay. So like with the bands, yeah. I think maybe the entire time up until halfway through Rainbow Death Ray, I was on citalopram, and there is a part of me like I worry a little bit that maybe the reason I've been slow in creativity is because I'm not on medication anymore. Now I was creative a little bit before that. But, you know, before I was on medication, so when I got out of high school, um, yeah, I tried like a semester of uni and then I dropped out because it was terrible and I was depressed. That's the first time I was officially diagnosed with depression. And I thought, oh, I'll be creative, but I wasn't. And then I went to art school the next year for a semester and then I dropped that and yeah, got depressed. And then I started YouTube. So at least that wasn't not like completely wasted, but I wasn't as creative as I thought. And so maybe the peak of my creative life could have been when I'm on medication and have the motivation to turn my thoughts into whatever. My mom's drug collection is bigger than yours. You should have seen the number of medications I had last time I was depressed because I tried so many. But yeah, I gave that to my parents to get rid of because yeah, probably not good for someone who was badly depressed at the time to have like a mountain full of medication to potentially abuse. Yeah, so that should be long gone. I'm sure they threw it out by now. Yeah, no, so just Lexapro liquid. Yeah, I just put five little drops in some water, and it did taste a bit, so I have it in apple juice instead. But yeah, no, I do worry that I need medication to get enough motivation to be creative again. So that's what we're trying. Hopefully my life will pick up. I probably should never have stopped medication. Because yeah, halfway like I was doing really well at the time, with Rainbow Death Ray, and I had almost a full-time job and things seemed to be going well. So yeah, I came off the medication and got brain zaps and all that. And then I things seemed fine for a while, but then the job was boring. 'Cause especially once I got the hang of it, it became really boring. I was burning out with Rainbow Death Ray, especially because we were doing our crowdfunding to make our EP, and I was doing most of the work on the EP because, of course, I was. And then my grandparents died, and those things just kicked me onto that spiral. But I wonder, would I have spiraled as badly if I had stayed on medication? And would that depression have gone on so long had I been on medication instead of coming off it and then trying to get back on, and having so many side effects? Um, I don't know. I don't know how it would have been, but I feel like the last it's maybe 4 years I've been, you know, recovered from that depression, but it's just been kind of flat. Like, there's been some good stuff, but I feel like it's increasingly flat and heading more towards that spiral, and I just need to change my life. Um LSD and cocaine 80 style. Oh, I opened a so I haven't listened to it yet, but on the health report, Norman Swan talking about psychedelic drugs and psychotherapy, and I'll be interested to see what he has to say about it because I have heard things, about research into it. So yeah, but I'm not at that stage yet because I can't even handle like your regular, supposedly mild SSRIs. Like, imagine me on something more than that. Probably not gonna be as good as it is from some other people. But yeah, so medication, probably shouldn't have stopped. Blah 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 blah. Last 4 years, very flat. I need to change my life, and so that's another thing is well, I've got to finish up because I want to watch Heroes. But so, my parents really know about my mental health, like especially since that last one. I think they got the hang of it. And so I've been talking to dad as well. And I've said I need to change my life. I can't keep going like this. If my life doesn't change, let's not think about that. So yeah, I'm sort of taking this as an opportunity to sort of reset my life a bit. I'll keep doing the bonsai job because I think that is good for me, even though physically it's very draining. But doing that once a week, I can handle that. And then the occasional teaching assistant on the side, that's fine. That you know, I did that on Saturday. Yeah, I was teaching black pine, my first black pine workshop. I mean, my sensei, not my boss, my sensei was teaching, and because my boss was elsewhere, I was sort of like filling in for him as an assistant teacher. So I was working with my sensei, who I don't get to work with so much, and she's really fun. Um, uh, yeah, so that was good. We were teaching Black Pine workshop, and I was assisting her. Not as many people turned up as we thought, which makes it a little bit easier because you got less people to go between and help out. And now I'm getting much more the hang of the Black Pine. Having to explain it, that helps as well. It's an odd process and interesting, but I'm getting off track anyway. So I think bonsai is good for me. I may end up teaching like beginner classes at some point. We will see. Um, yeah, so I'll keep doing that. But for the rest of my life, I need to figure stuff out and whether I just go all out. Like if I can find a studio space and just like go full into the whole art thing. Um, or maybe like so like I've got lots of bonsai of my own. I've got my own plants cooking, and when I finally turn them into proper bonsai, like I've got a lot of cuttings as well, and if they all grow, if they don't die, where am I going to put them all? And so I was thinking, well, maybe I can take them up to the market like once a month, like these guys do. So I bumped into these guys who do they do succulents, but they're sort of some of them are actually kind of look like they're designed like bonsai, and so I actually bought one. This is kind of interesting. Although it's weird for me because succulents don't want water, whereas bonsai you're supposed to water them like every day, sometimes twice a day in summer. This one says water it once a week in summer, and it feels so wrong. Um, but I'm being good. I'm being restrained. Anyway, So what happened with those guys is the wife, they're this retired couple, and the wife got into succulents, and it turned into an insane hobby like mine has, took over their whole backyard. So they thought, well, we don't want to start a business, but once a month we'll just sell some at the market. I'm starting to think, well, maybe that's what I need to do is like take my bonsai up. I'm probably gonna have some weird bonsai, but I also know how to make bonsai for like the general public, which is what I do at work. Um, and then maybe I make crafty things and I sell them at the market. Maybe I sell art at the market. I could do that kind of stuff, and I could make some that are conservative friendly because that's where I live, but I could also make some that are more like me and just sort of mix it up a bit. But if I do that, I need to be focused, and I don't think I can do that without medication. Um, yeah, so I just need to I need to figure out my life and what I want to do with it and then just go for it. And if I have to be an art wanker, well, I just have to accept that I'm an art wanker and go for it. You belong in 80s Florida? Oh, dear, dear. Anyway, so that's my life update, I guess, guys. That's where I'm at. I'm trying to get back on top of life, and I'm trying to just to focus because I'm lucky to have a family that looks after me. I don't have many expenses, so if I need to quit Centrelink, I have that as an option, financially. And then, um, my parents are getting more and more supportive of the idea that I could just be some kind of art wanker. And yeah, we'll see. I'll probably need their help to get some of this stuff going though, because yeah, with my mental health the way it is, it's super dumb because I was such a high achiever in school, but when it comes to real life, I can't I can't do it. So yeah, I'm gonna need them to help me out, I think. Um, and we'll just see what happens. And yeah, so I'm really trying to make that difficult. This is what I need to do with my life. But I think I need medication to figure out exactly what it is that I'm trying to do and then actually go and do it. So yeah. Save the droppers on a scale of 1 to 10, how depressed are you? Well, define 1 and define 10. Offensive death metal. No, I'm going to make random ambient music, actually. I keep talking to at bonsai because, where customers come in and they tend to be older people or Zen people. So we can't play heavy metal. My boss and I are both heavy metal fans, but we can't really play it at work unless it's after everyone's left. But usually we don't. So we end up listening to video game music or some of the stuff that he finds ambient kind of stuff, and then he jokes about, would you make music like this? And I just groan, and then I'm like, maybe I'll make music just for my boss. um and I will name it after various problems bonsai have, because we do bonsai maintenance and we have a bonsai hospital, and some of the trees that come in, it is kind of sad. So I will make sad ambient music about sick bonsai and I will play it to him. And maybe one day, that's one of the sillier ideas I've got. I don't know if I'll actually do it. Um, as for offensive death metal, I don't know how many of you guys know about Wintergaunt, my first proper band that actually gigged, but one of the songs, I think Broken Toys, I twisted the Our Father into something that was a bit offensive, at least for religious people. Um, so I have done that. It was sort of progressive death metal. Forced gender dysphoria V2. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm gonna go and watch Heroes. So that's my life update, guys. I'm okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of depressed, I don't know because I'm more anhedonic, but then I go on these spirals and the spirals are getting worse and going for longer. So whether or not I'm technically depressed by that 2 weeks of whatever, I don't know. But I'm doing okay. I've got support around me. I'm on medication. People know what's going on. People know to watch out for me. Um, so I'm fine in that sense. I'm not fine because I have to take medication, but I'm on top of it, if that makes sense. So you don't need to worry too much about me. Um, but thank you for your concern, I guess. But I don't want to make anyone too overly concerned. Also, remember, I'm some random on the other side of the internet, so um I don't know. I guess people get sentimental about people they don't really know. But yeah, like I'm about as fine as I can be in the circumstances. Yeah, I don't know what collabs. I mean, the Rorif's collab was okay, but he's too busy these days. Anyway, Heroes season 4. What episode are we up to? One of the discs is already in there. I'm on disc 2, so I've watched the first one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm up to 5. I'm up to episode 5 of season 4. I'm gonna go and watch that. Siler is the best. Siler is also the most relatable. His surname is also Gray. He grew up religious. He's a watchmaker dude, so he's like a nerd. Um, could they have written? I mean, in the first season of Heroes, there is a split personality character, but he's just much more fun and much more relatable. And yeah, things are constantly going crazy for him, but he gets through it, and he has all these crises of identity and like what he should be doing with his life and all that. And I'm just like, yeah, um, I worry about the rest of the world in case you ever snap and go proper crazy. Well, at least at least I don't have telekinesis, because I think that would be terrible. None of you really know about my RPG life and the character I came up with that, which is where the name Destroyer comes from. But yeah, if you think about Dragon Ball Z and how like everywhere they fight is like completely smashed, that was basically the result of a lot of the RPG stuff. It was sort of like Dungeons and Dragons, but without dice, without dungeon masters. We were just co-writing, but having our own characters, if that makes sense. A broomstick. Well, I sweep up at work, if that counts. Anyway, I'm gonna go because I really want to watch Heroes. Much as it's fun to talk to you guys, because like by the end of the stream, I am a bit like, yeah. But I do need to watch Heroes, go to bed. Hopefully, go to bed not crazy, because it has triggered the crazy in me on some episodes. And like I'll be trying to brush my teeth, and I just can't brush my teeth until that passes. Um, yeah, broomstick, not broomstick. Okay. Ah. And yeah, I've got to get up early to water the plants. So thank you for joining me. And anyone who is watching the replay who's managed to get through all 1 hour 37, I will see you whenever. I don't know, because I don't know how the medication is going to go. I don't know what my life is going to be like. Meditation, no. No, it doesn't work for me. 15. Oh my God. Yeah, see, there's a lot of reasons it's good that I didn't grow up in America. Thank you. Yes, Paper Vampire spoken. I'm going, guys. I'll see you whenever. I don't know when that'll be. Depends how crazy I go. And what else happens in my life. Best of luck and put the gun down. Bye, guys. Yeah. Your stream was up. Okay, so ending the stream's still the same.